4, homosexual news. Let's talk about Noah Schnapp. Now, I don't particularly care for him because he's a Zionist asshole. Based off of some of the videos and stuff that I remember seeing in the early stages of the whole Israel Hamas situation and some of how he's behaved on social media, don't particularly care for him. But he is a member of the Levitical Plus community. So, and this whole story regarding how the press was towards a child bothered me. So I felt like, let's make this a topic, even though I don't particularly care for him. But nevertheless, let's get into excuse me. Let's get into the story. I was like, wait, don't I have a picture of him somewhere? I was like, wait, child, I hate when I can't find stuff in here. Okay, I got it. So now, Noah Schnapp basically joined his Stranger Things co-stars on the cover of Time magazine and recalled journalists prying for information about his sexuality during press junkets when he was just a young teenager. I also heard some stories regarding, well, I'll get into the other thing that I heard about Stranger Things in a second once I'm done with this. So let me focus on that. So Schnapp publicly, as y'all know, came out as a homosexual in January of 2023 at 18 years old. Public scrutiny surrounding his sexuality had persisted for years, especially as Stranger Things worked toward his character, Will Byers, coming out as a homosexual on the show. Saying, when I was younger, I was obviously very scared of talking about it, Schnapp told the publication. They would pry and ask me, is he gay? Are you gay? I was 12, 13. I didn't know what to say. Oh, that rhymes, by the way. Schnapp confirmed in July 2022 interview with Variety that Will Byers was a homosexual. Now, Stranger Things 4 was dominating the Netflix charts at the time, and the series had put Will's sexuality front and center. When the actor publicly came out in social media post months later, he wrote, I guess I'm more similar to Will than I thought. Once I did fully embrace that Will was gay, it was sort of an exponential speed towards accepting it for myself. Snap later told Variety in a cover story. I would be in a completely different place if I didn't have Will to portray and to embrace and help me accept myself. I think if I had never played that character, I was probably still would be closeted. Snap remembered how his original comments about Will being gay blew up in the press, and the reaction was overwhelmingly positive. Much to his surprise, he added, everyone was like, oh, Will's gay? Hooray. I saw all these comments on Instagram and TikTok. There was not one bad thing about him being gay. I was like, if he has all this support, then why should I worry about anything? So, um, I'm glad in a way that him coming to terms with all that the show helped him come to terms with his own sexuality in real life. Maybe the Duffers kind of sensed it from the beginning when they cast him, or maybe there was, who knows, maybe there was intention for Will, or maybe that when they were working with him, they kind of sensed it in him, and they just like, let's write it into the show, kind of like how they wrote in Elliot Page's transness when she was on the Umbrella Academy, but or he was sorry when he was on the Umbrella Academy, because remember, transition. So kudos to him for that. But I do feel like it's very inappropriate that that press people are asking a child if he's a homosexual. Like, that's none of your damn business. And first of all, when you should, well, maybe they don't understand because they're ignorant and they're stupid. And they're probably not even gay. But when you're young and you're going through puberty and you're still dealing with things going on in your life, and you don't, and you're dealing with a lot of feelings and wrestling with feelings and stuff that's going on inside, you don't necessarily, like, how are you trying to force me out of, like, it's the same thing like with Barbara Walters rude ass asking Ricky Martin if he was a homosexual, and he felt like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna sit up here and tell you, like, take this moment to give you the satisfaction of knowing my tea, so you would, that way you could break the internet. Well, you couldn't break internet because the internet wasn't the internet at the time. You could break the ratings on, was it 2020? It might have been 2020. Or the most beautiful people winning that dumb show that she was doing. So it's like, I'm not gonna give you that moment. And it's like, people have to come to terms with their sexual orientation at their own time. Now, and then also I remember hearing the story about Stranger Things, that how a lot of the cast saying that they're worried that this final season that y'all gonna hate it, like, or rip it apart, like y'all ripped apart Game of Thrones final season. Well, the final season for Game of Thrones, to be fair, was lackluster. However, as I said earlier, because I was saying with Finn Wolfhard, I said, look, all you could do is show up to work one time, stand on your mark, say your lines, and put it all behind you. You can't worry about what the fandom is gonna be saying about a show that they love. Because at the end of the day, this is up to the Duffer Brothers for them to create what they want to create. And if and I don't think they were rushed. Like, I feel like they said that the Game of Thrones final season that they went through hell with that final season and HBO and all the other mess that was going on with them. So I feel like they were able to kind of do what they wanted to do to wrap the show up in their own way. So I don't think I mean you can't please everybody. So just do what like I said, show up, say your lines, do what is in the script and keep it moving. You can't worry about what the fandom and stuff is because then a lot of people out here never satisfied about anything. But at the end of the day, like I said, even though Noah Schnapp, I don't like some of the things that he been doing up in here, especially with how he would mock Palestinians and all the other mess. Like that pissed me off with him, and I don't want to say nothing else even more disrespectful, like any more curse words. So I'm gonna keep it to myself because he's still young. However, and maybe he'll learn better and grow up and do better. But yeah, it's kind of gross when you're when people are coming up in here and just getting trying to get all up in a child's personal business when they don't even know when they haven't even become comfortable with their own sexuality. So that was just pretty stank on those reporters' part. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding Noah Schnapp revealing that yeah, the press basically was getting all up in his business regarding whether or not they wanted him to come out in front of all of them at 13 or 12 or 14. Like that's a bit evasive, it's just nosy and it's rude. So and I'd have been none of your fucking business. I mean, I would have been known as a rude little shit of a kid, but yeah, it's like, why'd you ask me that? First of all, that's just gross. So for you to be asking me that, not being homosexual is gross. But let me know, regardless of what you think of this story in the comments down below.